Hey everybody, welcome to the Writing Gals. Looks like not all of us are completely ready.
Because I was on a chair and she was on a bench.
Sorry.
We were playing musical chairs.
Okay. Welcome everybody to our episode 90 of the Writing Gals. We are just taking questions and answering them today. And so I posted a little bit earlier. If you didn't see that thread, that's fine. You can ask just down in the comments below here. But before we go to our questions answers, let's just talk about what we're doing. Judy, what are you up to?
So I just released a book this week for the first time in over 6 months. So nice. It's been exciting and good, and also nerve-wracking because, you know, it's a mental game. Like my rank got the highest that I've had in 2 years, which is exciting. But then it goes down a little bit. I'm like, no, it's all going away. So and then it goes up. So I don't know. I'm just trying to manage that anyway. I don't know if that'll ever go away. But yeah, it's been good and fun. And I just wrote what I wanted to write with this book, and it was fun. And so lots of readers are enjoying it. Others are like, oh, okay. So it's just different, but it's fun.
Super fun.
Yeah. And then I'm working on the book 2 in that series, and I am about 17,000 words in. So I'm hoping to publish that by the end of the summer, maybe. So
great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can't. Are you going to do another 90,000 words this summer?
I hope so. We will see. Life might not cooperate like I always want it to, but we will. I'm hoping to finish it by July, but that's probably a really big lofty goal. So
well, I love the lofty goal.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
All right, Michelle, what are you up to?
Still not publishing my book, but I will have it to my editor on Wednesday, do or die.
Yay.
And so now I can pretty much look at my calendar and schedule release date probably for the 7th, June 7th, I think, which is later than I want, obviously, but it's going to happen. And I'm really proud of the book that it's going to be. So that's great. And I'm also outlining and about to start writing my first Kindle Vella story. So I'm super excited about that. Mm-hmm. And yes, I bumped back a young adult book that I was supposed to write 3 months ago, but I really want to have it available when Vella goes live, which everybody's thinking could be the end of June or July. So I don't want to procrastinate on that too long. And so that's what's on my horizon right now.
Nice. And Amy, what's been up with you?
Well, I just published my 6th book in my Magnolia in my Red Stiletto Book Club series. It just launched today. So I'm having a great sales day when I get all those pre-orders in.
Nice.
Hopefully I'll keep it going. But and so that one's launched, and I'm working on the 7th book of my Rural series, but it's really number 6 because 9 and 10 are later on. But I'm about 15,000 words into that book, and I'm really enjoying writing young adult again after having written women's fiction for so long. I'm excited about that, and I have pre-orders due by the end of November, so I basically have to write forever and never stop. So that's fun. All the while, I'm taking Skywarren's Facebook ads course again because I'm to the point where I have so many books out that I should not be steady in what I'm making or declining. I should be making more. So I'm really trying to throw myself into getting ads working for me and making me more money because I really, really want to level up. With all the books I have, I can't see why that's not like plausible for me. I think I have like 50 books out. So there comes a point in your writing, like everyone tells you, put out more books, put out more books, put out more books. And then there comes a point where you're like, well, I have so many out. Why am I putting out more? I obviously haven't tapped the readership out, so I need to re-strategize. And so a lot of my 2020, 2021 has been re-strategizing. So most of my income comes from my backlist. And then when my front list releases, then that's just an extra boost for me. But it's trying to play those games and figure out where I can be profitable, but also scaling as well. So I'm doing all that fun stuff.
Fun. Sounds great.
Hopefully the end result of all of this is that I make more money. That's
And then you can teach us all how you make all that more money.
Try. don't decide to change things, or Amazon or Facebook doesn't decide to change things. But I'm feeling optimistic. But that's right now. If you had talked to me yesterday, I was feeling very differently about this yesterday. So it's definitely an emotional roller coaster.
Oh, yes.
Emily is our resident Facebook ad expert just looked at how she's constantly trying to learn and grow in it, and just shows you that there's always so much to be learning in this business.
Well, and I like Sky because she talks about how you look at what is one sale, what profit is that to you. And so that's helping me change. Like if I sell one book of my Magnolia Inn, it's really $8 worth to me, because that's my read through is through the series that I have. And then as I add more books, that number grows and grows. So that helps change my thinking behind my ads. And I decided to, like, my brain works differently. So I'm like, okay, where do I want to be? And then you deduce down from there. And then you say, okay, if that's what I want to be making, well, how many of book one do I need to sell? And that helps me more than just this like abstract, just sell your book. Well, okay, if that was the answer, then everybody would be rich. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now.
Nice.
Totally losing my mind.
Sounds like what I do. And I have been just getting back into my writing this week after craziness happened with, I had a new grandson born. And so I went out and visited him and did some conference teaching stuff. And so now I'm home, and nothing else planned till the end of June with a family reunion. So I'm hoping I can get the rest of this book knocked out, because I am like 30,000 words in and I need to finish it. So, and it's a friends to lovers one, and I love that. So super fun trope. So that's what I've been doing. All right, let's dive into our questions today. And the first question is, I'd like a comparison of Vellum and Atticus, please. And I don't have Atticus yet. I have Vellum, but I know Michelle has it.
Yeah, I do have it. So right now, I'm excited about the potential for Atticus. They're still working really hard behind the scenes to add features to it. They're getting response from the early users on what they want to see in the program. And we keep getting emails from Dave telling us what they've done. They've showed us their schedule for what they're going to be adding when, all the features that will be available by their official launch date. So right now, it's not crazy functional for me as a writing tool. The reason I think Atticus will be better than Vellum in the long run, like when they get it fixed, is that it's described as being Google Docs and Vellum and Scrivener all together in one tool, which is what will make it so much more functional, besides even the point that it will be available to PC users. And the big knock against Vellum is that it's only available for Macs. And so for those of us like me who only use PCs, and I had to buy like a junky used Mac just for Vellum, Atticus will allow everybody on all computer to use it. It's supposed to allow you to be able to collaborate with editors, beta readers, to get your feedback right on that platform. And I'm still exploring, trying to figure out how that's going to work. But basically, I think it's more like Dabble, where it can be used on the web or downloaded to your computer. Does that make sense? So you can download the program onto your computer. You can download that functionality just like Scrivener or Vellum would be, but you can also just access it through their website and through your account. And so I think you would give the ability for beta readers and editors to access your story through the account and give them certain editor or commenting rights,
permissions.
But still have restrictions. So I can really see some awesome benefits from that collaborative availability. So I think that's more like the Google Docs aspect that they're talking about. And the The publishing format looks like it's going to be really good, like much better than Vellum, actually.
Nice.
They're going to give you a lot more flexibility with the kinds of like ornamental breaks and the types of chapter headings you can have. So, with Vellum, you're really limited to like only, 5 different chapter formats, and it's really limited. And so Atticus is going to have a lot more to choose from. And I think it's going to be really user-friendly, really self-explanatory. And in Scrivener, there's so much you can do in Scrivener. Like, it's just got layers and layers and layers of tools, and you can use it for years and still constantly be learning new things to do on it. But I guess they're really focusing on what do writers use, and trying to only have the most common tools, so that it's really simple, really easy to learn. But right now, my biggest problem with it, and I'm going to be submitting some feedback at some point, is there's not a lot of formatting available in the writing section. So you basically have like a dashboard where you upload your stories to it, and you can have your cover. And so you just like basically build a library in the account with all your books, and you can start new stories, or you can upload other stories for formatting and that sort of thing. So you have your library section, and then you have the writing section, and then you have your publishing section, and you just click on the different tabs to do different things. And then the writing section, most of the formatting, like the problems that I see for me is it doesn't have like a justify. It just has like left and right and center. So I really want a justify option. They haven't had any other fonts that you can choose from on that part of it. Only on the publishing part. You can't format like double spacing and all that sort of stuff yet. So like it just becomes like this big block of text, or you're putting a whole bunch of like returns and things in there and tabs in there that I would think would cause problems on the publishing end. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm not really happy with the writing section. I would love for the functionality to be where I go and I write, and then all I do is click a tab over, and I can like tweak all the ornamental breaks and stuff for publishing. So I think their thinking is that most of us will be wanting to do the kind of formatting I'm talking about when we get to the publishing section, but I want it in the writing section so that it looks the way I want it to look when I'm writing. So, if that makes sense. That's really, I would say, one of my biggest issues with it right now is just what it looks like while I'm writing on the tab. But I think that they're listening to authors and adding so many different things in that eventually it's going to get to where it's a great writing tool. And it works like Scrivener, where you can upload has like chapters broken into chapters. So really cool about that. You can also write on iPhone or tablet all in one place. So it gives you the flexibility of being able to write on the go, and it's all going to the same place. So there's no saving or uploading or to the cloud or syncing across devices. Like, it's all seamless, because unless you're doing it, like if you're doing it on the web, it's seamless across all your devices, which is one of the things that people really like about Dabble, I know for sure. So anyways, but it's not really functional on my phone yet either. I've noticed that when I've tried to write on my phone, because I was on vacation, I was trying it out on vacation. So I was like down on the beach trying to write on the phone, and it leaves like the sidebar with your library information on it all the time. So like if your screen is vertical, it has like this skinny little margin where your writing is. And then if you turn it the other way, it's like half your screen that you're writing on. And I know they're going to change a function to where it can be just like one big, like on Scrivener, where you can turn it to where it's like writing view only. You're not seeing any of the other stuff, but they don't have that functionality yet. So that might fix that problem.
Yeah.
Did I talk a lot? That's your Atticus review.
That's great. No, one of the things I'm really excited about with Atticus is since it's being developed by Dave and his team, I feel like he's one of us, right? He's down here in the trenches with the writers, and he knows what we want, and he listens to what we want. And that's one thing that I'm super excited about, even though right now, functionality wise, it may not be perfect. I believe that he is going to really listen to what writers want. And so that's what makes it super exciting.
he put up a video in Wide for the Win group on Facebook, and he was basically like, so this was supposed to be like a beta launch, and we were expecting like 20 people, and now everybody has signed up. So I think when we talk about, I think about like in terms of your book, like you have your beta readers. Like imagine if everybody on Amazon read your beta readers book. So I think that's what's going on. He was just like, we were totally not expecting this many people to download it.
Yeah.
And
we crashed their system.
Yeah.
Like within 20 minutes of the email going out.
So I would probably say if you're interested in it, wait until they come out and say it is launched, it is done, take it. Like keep working with what you normally do. I would not personally, if I were you, write and save all of your writing in it because it could update and who knows what would happen to it. So I wouldn't make any big jumps over there until we've got the green light to say it's good to go.
But seeing the schedule that he shared with all of the updates and features they're adding, it's going to be amazing. The potential is definitely there, and it's affordable because Vellum by itself is like $250, and I think that it's
affordable, and you didn't buy the other stuff already.
Well, that's true, but so I think that when they go live, that the price is supposed to be like $147. I think I've heard, so it's already $100 cheaper than Vellum. Plus not needing to buy a Mac. Like I spent like $550 because I also bought a $300 used Mac.
Yeah.
To be able to use it. So I think it's a great solution. And we all know competition is a great thing. So I think for Scrivener and all these other things to have another competitor out there that's coming out so strong that it might cause these other places to really do some updates.
So I'm hoping Vellum will be like, oh, they have all these options. Let's give it to the users. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's switch over to Kindle Vella. A couple people are asking about Kindle Vella and anything having to do with writing serials. So we're back to Michelle.
Michelle to talk for the whole podcast.
I think we went over a lot of that in our video a month ago.
Join Michelle's group.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean,
Michelle just put up like this crazy thing she wrote out where she talks about what she's going to put in every episode of her first season. So go there. And I was like, wow, Michelle, you're a little crazy.
So what's the group called? Because I don't think I'm in it.
It's called Sweet Romance for Kindle Vella. So it's not that I'm kind of wanting it to be sweet romance authors specifically for the purpose of, I think we're going to face a really big challenge on the platform that steamy romance authors are not going to have, where we're going to have a harder time getting visibility and finding a market on Vella because most episodic romance readers out there are steamy in general. So my group was made with the intention of helping us all sort of collaborate and come up with some great ideas to try to figure out how to sell stories on Vella.
But there are other groups.
But there's lots of groups that are basically all the information we're talking about are on other groups too. I think I've seen 10 different Facebook groups.
What was her name? The lady that she was on Clubhouse and she was talking about. She's like a big name author, and she did she has a group you can join.
Yeah.
She type Kindle Vella into your search bar on Facebook and you'll probably find some groups.
Definitely.
And I would probably say the best thing you can do is read other serials.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're wanting to do this, you need to understand how this writing works because it is different than a novel format. And so Amazon specifically looking for that kind of fiction where it's an episodic story experience, not a novel cut into bits and pieces. And so I would get familiar, like with anything, learn the market, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but I would say right now, when it first was announced, there was this huge rush of authors all trying to figure out, all talking. There's been all kinds of conversation, but for the last couple of weeks, I think things have gotten pretty quiet as authors are just kind of starting to buckle down and start getting their stories ready and uploaded. There's a few,
or they gave up on it,
gave up on it and decided not right now, not for me, as they're seeing what it's going to look like, and that's fine. It's not going to be for everybody. It's really exciting, and everybody's like, I got to check it out, but it's not necessarily going to be something that everybody's going to enjoy
and
doing.
I think it's going to be those ones who are like, oh, I'll just write a novel and then chop it up. I think the ones that are going to be less successful than people who actually look for what readers want, because they're going to know. And they're going to get frustrated. So
I've seen a lot of people saying, well, I'm just going to publish on Vella and then I'm going to pull it and publish it as a book later. And I don't think that they understand. Like, I can see that potentially working maybe, but it's not going to be the same kind of story that readers are looking for. And you're not going to make readers very happy if you're pulling content.
Yeah.
They possibly finished. I'm going into is like whatever I'm producing for Vella, I'm either going to stick with Vella, and if Vella ends up not working out, there are a lot of other platforms that I could potentially move it to, but it is going to be what it is. I would say, like, right now, the biggest thing that I'm seeing for people that are having problems with Vella, the uploading experience, is that they're having a lot of trouble with people are being put in review or draft status where Amazon's rejecting stories because they're finding their chapters published like on their websites, or, you know, like free chapters that were published anywhere and Amazon's finding it. And so the draft process, the review process takes like 2 or 3 days with Kindle Vella, and it's their bots are out there searching for the content on the internet. And
so they can't have like published it on other, like on like Radish or anything?
Nowhere where it's free. So if they find it free anywhere, that's when they get in trouble. So if it's behind a paywall where readers have to pay for it, like on Radish or through your Patreon or something like that, then it's okay. But if it's like even a free chapter on your website, then they will, like, because you're publishing chapter by chapter by chapter. And so if they see that chapter that you just submitted for review is free on your website, then they'll just deny that episode. They won't deny the whole story, but they'll just deny that episode because it's free somewhere. So make sure that anything that you're publishing on Vella, that you're not giving free previews anywhere. Because, I mean, that has been a marketing tool for a long time, but that's not what you want to be doing with Vella. It's going to cause you problems. And then just know that there are people already publishing hundreds of episodes right now. Don't feel like that means that like you've already gotten behind the race, because nobody's actually published right now because it hasn't gone live yet. But just know that there are people who are professionals at this already on other platforms and moving over here, and they're ready to go. And so I think it's going to have I think there's going to be a lot of content on Vella when it goes live. So it's going to be like this mad rush out of the gates to find readers. And so it needs to be like, you need to present yourself well. You need to have things edited. You need to, you know, have as much content as you can ready to go so that readers aren't going to be, you know, like, oh, she's only got 3 chapters. Well, I'm going to go read this person who has 30 episodes available. You know, there's just going to be a lot of that. And a lot of authors are saying, I can only publish an episode a week. Well, if that is your capacity, that's your capacity. And there's absolutely no reason why you can't do that. But it is going to put you at a business disadvantage, you know, because readers are going to be more likely to follow people who are producing more frequently. So it's just going to, I'm so interested to see how it goes when it launches. You remember when BookBub was first getting started and they had ads everywhere? Like on Pinterest, on Facebook, like everywhere you went, there were BookBub ads trying to pull readers in. And I'm not seeing any of that with Vella anywhere. Is anybody else? I don't know
Just
what
in the author world.
Yeah. And then and even on Pinterest and different places where I'm seeing ads for Vella, it's directed towards the authors right now. So I'm really curious. I'm going to be watching to see if Amazon does any kind of advertising for the platform anywhere. Like I know that they did for.
Well, they probably don't want to get people to click and then have nowhere to go. So I'm guessing that they're waiting. And I feel like a lot of these like interactive novel places or like Wattpad things in that, they always put up like snippets and then allow you to go and purchase it. And so I couldn't imagine that they would try to get people excited about.
But since nobody knows when they're launching, I'm waiting to see when they start advertising, because that could be a cue that they're going to. Because I don't think they'll launch completely without a reader base.
Oh no, I think once they start getting, my guess is that they're probably trying to market or get like big name authors on there, and so
I would think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I mean, Amazon is a giant list. They just have to send an email out, and it can change somebody's life. So I'm not too.
I'm just watching.
Sure, Amazon's like, I'm the big hairy gorilla. Like, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, they've also had other programs fail, but I'm watching for the ads to the reader base just so I can maybe gauge when they're going to go live. I would love to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you can schedule your episodes by date, but it seems so pointless because there's no start date for the thing. So a lot of people's episodes are going quote unquote live right now because they're scheduled, but the platform isn't available yet. So they're not really going live. So it's just this weird thing.
They're just sitting there.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Although they probably do want live episodes when they launch because they want content.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But like if I was to go in and try to like schedule out my posts, like it would just feel weird. Like, do I schedule one to go live tomorrow or live in 3 weeks and then drop it? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like this, we're in this weird period with Vella, but
Yeah.
I'm super excited about the possibilities. We'll see.
Nice.
You're
Awesome.
super excited, and I'm like, I'm just trying to write the books I have.
I know.
Yeah, that's
Gotta
me.
finish.
I'll just write the books.
Finish
Well,
what
yeah.
I'm doing.
I'm like, let's do all the things, even though I can't even do the one thing that I'm trying to do right now.
All right. Our next question is about the Writing Gals Conference. What information do we have to share?
I think we have one piece of information.
It's
It is happening
That's it.
in October. It's happening in October. What did we say? 15th through 16th?
Yeah.
We may add some things Thursday night. We really haven't made that decision yet. But if you want to block out a weekend and start saving saving your availability and registration, all that sort of stuff, it's the 15th through 16th. And we're super excited about it. We were trying to schedule it, and there's like a million conferences. And everybody, like now that things are opening up and people are learning how to do virtual conferences in general, like it's like back to business with the writing conference world, which is super exciting. But yeah, that's why we settled in October. It seemed to have like a pretty good open window where we wouldn't have a conflict with other conferences. So be really excited about it because we had a great time with our conference last year. We had great response from the attendees. Great feedback. We have some good ideas for what we can do to improve it even more this year. And you know that we're going to deliver really awesome content from the best teachers. So yeah, you guys need to put that on your calendar for sure.
Yes. October 15, 16, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm getting ready. Super excited.
Yep.
I better put that in
right.
my calendar. I don't.
Yeah.
think I did.
Put it in the calendar. All right. Myra wants to know how to market a translation. Amy, have you done any translations?
So I have my first translation done. They're working through right now. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to launch book one, but I was talking to Lee Savino, who is like making 6 figures a month, and a big portion of that's coming from her translations. She told me that it is 2015 over in Germany right now. So it is like you put ads up and you can get to top 100, no problem. There is 2 different ways you can do it, obviously through KU. But she said the KU pricing isn't as good there. It's easy to bonus in Germany though with KU. I'm actually probably going to just launch my books wide so I can be on all the platforms. And yeah, that's pretty much all I know. I'm going to be running Amazon ads and Facebook ads. I was told one of the best ways to market it on Facebook is by putting up your first chapter, which I think makes sense because then it really shows the people that it's translated well. And then they go and buy it. It's a little bit more complicated. They're not as used to things like we are. So it's harder to get people to like sign up for your newsletter or sign up for your Facebook group just because they're not used to that over there. So that can be harder. But yeah, I don't know. That's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably wait till I have book 1 and 2 out because it does end in cliffhangers, and then probably put 3 and 4 up for pre-order. But it kind of just depends on what my translator does. And she has to finish the translation and then send it to her proofer. And then her proofer sends it to like a final read through just to make sure the commas and stuff are in the right place. This was her first like big fiction translation, so it took her a lot longer. I'm hoping she gets a lot faster because I plan on doing a lot of my books in German. But it's definitely something that's on my radar and I'm building up to. It's expensive. So I'm hoping that the series pays me back and then I can just continue rolling that money in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really excited to be part of something that's like 2015. So
Yeah.
and then she's working on French and Italian translations. And it's interesting because when I had any TikToks that do any kind of virality at all, I get a lot of people asking about, well, do you have this in German? Do you have this in, in French? Do you have it in different translations? So it's definitely building. Although I was talking to a TikTok person and they were saying TikTok is a geolocation app. And so because we're located in the United States, even if I tried to do a TikTok video with German stuff, it really wouldn't hit unless it went viral because it's just not, I'm not in Germany.
Yeah.
So you keep aware of that. She's like, but there are book talkers, German book talkers that I'm going to possibly try to reach out to. And do it that way. Have you had people ask for translations? Yeah, I've had people ask for translations. I actually have my rule series with my agent, and because I got reached out by 2 different translation companies, one in Italy, I think, and one in Turkey, asking for about my rights for my rule series. So they're shopping around for translations. I might be willing to with the smaller places, but I'll have to see what kind of deals they give me with bigger ones because it's money in my pocket if I can find the translators. It's just hard to find good translators. And I had an experience with my translator and a proofer that I had hired, and they did not mesh well together. And you feel like you have to field these relationships, but you don't know if one person did the right thing or the wrong thing because I can't read it. So I have no and so that is difficult for me. And so I'm kind of that person is like, once I find a good person, then I'm like, don't ever leave me because I don't know what I'm going to do if you go away. Or finding new people is just not my strong suit. So for me, it's going to be finding the people to actually translate it and making sure that it's good. And I want to make a good impression in these countries. I've known people who are like, yeah, the first translation was crap and I got a lot of bad reviews but whatever. I don't want to have that kind of attitude when it comes to translations, but it's also like, I don't know how do you know who's good or bad and those types of things. So so Facebook user, I don't know who it is. Can you see who it is? It says, I'm doing translations right now, German and KU and French wide. I put up Amazon ads, just the automatic ones with no text, and I plan to do audio and foreign languages too. I was thinking about doing audio and foreign languages. I just don't know how to find somebody to do it. But I will definitely be something I'm interested in as well.
Jenny.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Lee Savino and I were chatting. She's actually pulled a lot of her books and gone wide with them, and she loves wide now. I think that's why she ended up doing German wide. But I do like the idea of being on Nook, and she said Kobo Tolino or something is you really want to make sure you're in that for German. I think through Findaway. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense that you can find them through Findaway. That's the question. Down before we go. That's you.
It was me.
Oh,
no, I was going to ask you a question about your ads. If you're doing AMS or Facebook ads or whatever to Germany, do you just do no text, or do you have to put stuff in German?
If you do she said she does auto with no text. Yeah, you can do automatic where it would just have your cover. But I have my translator, I'm going to send her, can you translate this ad copy for me? Can you translate my blurb for me? And she can do sort of things like that.
Which would be another good reason to do it yourself versus.
But you don't get access to all Amazon ad in all the countries. I think you do in some of them, but not all of them. So you have to be careful with that as well. I know when I went to RAM last year, Charlotte Bird was talking about that she makes tons of money through translations, and she's doing all translations, Spanish, she's doing Portuguese, she's doing all those kinds of things. But she says it's harder to market those kinds because Amazon hasn't opened up ads for those places. Or their payout is different. So if you sell a ton of books in Mexico, things are going to look differently in terms of return. And so sometimes it's just not worth it to do those translators. I do auto with no text. As soon as the book is up for French wide, it's important because Canada reads on Kobo. Yeah. So it's important to know. We should start I keep thinking we should start all these random offshoot groups. We should have a TikTok group, and we should have a translations group, but we can talk and chat, because I think there's a lot of people probably doing them and they just don't know who to find. But it's not necessarily the Writing Gals group specific.
Should we start Writing Gals Clubhouse?
On Clubhouse?
Where we could have different things?
We should do that.
Or I know we have.
If anybody needs Clubhouse invites, I think I have 5 or 6.
I have a few now too, since Amy yanked me over there too, even though I don't know what I'm doing on Clubhouse yet.
Yeah, I don't know either. So I think there's a lot of places to grow. And I like the idea of translations just because it's not something, it's a way for you to make money, but you don't have to actually come up with new storylines, which is important. And I think like anytime, audio is important. And a lot of these like early adapter type person, mindset, or I don't want to be the one person that's coming in last. I want to be one of the first people. And I don't think that there's a lot of sweet romance.
I'm trying to
being
turn that off.
translated. Jeez, Michelle.
I tried to turn it off.
Stop talking. That's your
No,
way.
I was trying to see the comments and then the audio started. Sorry.
Someone said, okay, maybe we'll do that. Because didn't you say we could do rooms in groups now? But that was like you have to be on Messenger or something. When I was looking at doing rooms, it was weird.
Well, it goes to Messenger. So if you are in a group, like a Facebook group, like the Writing Gals Facebook group, and you start a room, the room functions within Messenger. But it's like a Clubhouse.
So it's kind of like Clubhouse
video.
Except it's with video.
Oh, I don't want to do that. Okay. Well, maybe we'll do something, I don't know. We'll have to figure something out. Because I do think that there are places that we want to go to discuss these types of things, and maybe not everybody in the group is at that level. Yeah. It would be nice because I can share, like if my German translator is not available, somebody else's might be. And honestly, I'm always like, if you do something well for one author, you will then become everybody's author of that thing very well, because nobody wants to shop around. They just want to say, who are you using? Oh, okay. Can I use them too? And that sort of thing. But I think it's all
I think Amy and I will work together on starting a Writing Gals Clubhouse thing. And
but I also think on Facebook too,
or we'll figure out Facebook.
Or we could do a Writing Gals Clubhouse Facebook group too, but that's where we talk about, hey, we're I don't know.
Because we don't have Facebook groups.
I know. I don't want to start another Facebook group, but I feel like now that I know Jenny is doing translations, I'm like, she's somebody I can collaborate with and chat with and say, hey, what are you doing? Can you help me? Because I don't know.
Yeah. Good. All right, we have one last question over on our thread on Facebook. And Jan is saying, my little Facebook ads and newsletter polls show the bulk of my readers are over 65 for my clean romances. Any suggestions what kind of Facebook posts might appeal to them?
So you said your Facebook ad and your newsletter says that. You also have to think about where the majority, like I agree and I disagree at the same time. I think you have to think about, okay, Facebook ads, majority of the users of Facebook are older. And then also the majority of people who are signing up for newsletters are also probably older. So that might skew it, thinking that those people are your only audience when they could be other places, or they just might not sign up. Also depends how much of an ad you're running. So like Facebook optimizes for people who click. So they might, if you're only doing $10, it might show 65 and older is the majority, but that could be just Facebook, but you could have multiple people on Amazon in different ages finding your book that just might not sign up for your newsletter. So I would be careful in trying to pigeonhole people by age. I find when I try to do stuff like that with my Amazon ads, I just try to say what will cast the biggest net and catch everybody. Like all women, no matter what age, reading romance wants to read romance. So find the things that are hooky. So like kiss scenes, and ends with a good hook too. Something that maybe starts with dialogue and this like information going on really shows like the quirkiness of your writing or the funness of your story or things like that. So
I wanted to read her question, but I can't get on Facebook without turning my audio again.
It's okay. Do it now. Just do it.
I think she might be talking also about like how to engage with them in her like author group on Facebook and not just.
Yeah, she wasn't specific about ads or just in general.
But I think the same thing applies. I
don't think people who are 65 and older want to feel like, oh, you had to specifically make something just my age. I think now that I am in my 30s, and I think back when I was in my 20s, I still feel like I'm in my 20s. So I'm like, I think people who are old don't necessarily feel like I'm old.
I don't feel 40.
Yeah. So like, I think at any age, things like those types of things, like a hot guy is a hot guy. Like Michelle has crushes on like 20-year-old men.
Amy, that sounds awful. I'm a fan of
with
a
their-
few actors. There's a difference between being a fan and having crushes.
It's like having book boyfriends. That's what
Yeah.
Michelle has. It's just movie boyfriends.
Like a 65-year-old person doesn't have to read a story about a 65-year-old person to feel the romance.
Yes. Well,
I have crushes on 20-year-old guys.
Fan
crushes. Said that.
fan crushes.
I don't know if you walked in. Sometimes I'm like, honey, if this happened, I would probably leave you for this person. We have established that. But that's okay.
This podcast just went off the rails.
If he could get a certain girl, like when we first got married, he got sad because Reese Witherspoon broke up with her husband, and I'm like, honey, you could divorce me and go try and get her. Yeah, like that door is open.
But in our Facebook groups, I think the point is to try to be authentic. Like if I think it should be more about like what fits your personality and what works for you, what
fits your books.
Yeah, what best reflects your writing and your stories you're telling and that sort of thing. And like your fans are your fans for a reason. It's because they like your stories and because they like you, and not because they all enjoy knitting or they all like the same, like watch the same shows when they were growing up, or like that generation will have a lot in common with each other, but they're your fans because they like what you have to offer. So just make sure that it's authentic and what you like, and it will resonate with your fans.
And I would say pay attention to which posts get the most engagement, because you can tell what people are clicking on and liking by that. And asking questions, you'll get a lot more responses if you're asking your fans questions, and just it could be about books or it could be about anything. Just asking questions helps get engagement.
Yep. And same thing with your newsletter. I found if I ask them specific questions in my newsletter, I get a lot more response back. And that's good because I want engagement on my newsletters too. I want them to feel like they're getting to know me and having conversations with me. So it's the same thing. I agree. Asking questions is a great tool.
Yay.
We didn't get any questions on the live feed today.
No, we didn't.
I think because we didn't let people know it was today, so we had less people viewing too. So
we kind of did this last minute. Sorry.
Our true fans knew that we were going to be on because it's the third Thursday of the month. But we're also going to, I guess, before we get off, kind of just make a summer. I'm glad we cracked people up. We cracked people up.
She's going to be sending me a bill for their marriage therapy now.
I know. My husband just walked out of the house.
Okay, I said you had crushes you weren't in love with. That's two different things. Like you can appreciate the beauty of people. I think that would be a crush. Love is another thing.
True. I'm just glad I know he's going to pick our kids up from school and not that he's just mad.
I'm done. I was just like, oh. Sorry about that. But I said you because you said even in your 40s. And so I'm like, here's a 40-year-old person who thinks that 20-year-old guys are cute. So like.
Well, they are cute. You can appreciate beauty at any age.
At any age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old, but I'm not dead.
Yeah.
I can appreciate things.
Yes. Anyway, so what I was going to say is we have been looking, like school is getting out next week, like on Wednesday for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of us are going to have kids home during the day. And when we switched to these daytime podcasts, it was during the school year, I believe. Somebody's now asking for taxes when we're about to wrap up.
Get a tax person.
We actually have a podcast all about taxes with Bridget Baker. She has a lot of great information. So just go find that podcast because it's a long podcast with a lot of good information.
2 episodes.
I think we did 2 of them.
2 episodes because there was so much. So yeah, go look for those episodes. But we are probably not going to be super consistent over the summer. We may change the format and how we're doing things. There may be like fewer of us depending on what we all have going on. So just bear with us. We want to keep the podcast going in some shape or form, but summer months are definitely going to be a little crazier for us. But just keep your eyes open for us because when we are here, we have a good time. So you don't want to miss it.
You never got marriages.
You never know what Amy's going to say. So you just got to be here.
I think that me and my husband are just way different than other people.
Well, I've been trying to convince my husband that I am not obsessed with Korean men.
Well, that's the thing. Sean's always like, if you die, I'm gonna go marry a Korean woman. I'm like, go ahead. I don't, that's supposed to hurt me in some way. I don't know. Okay. How would be good for my kids? She like whip him into shape, you know?
Oh,
And
I know. I would love to have a Korean mom come and mom my kids for a little while.
Yeah.
Because
I know. So I'm like,
they know what
this
they're
is a
doing.
win-win for me. So
Amy and I are going to get off of here and write now.
All right, folks. You heard it here. Thank you for joining us, and go write and be productive today.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.